Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Every day, Vermont courts are filled with a variety of cases. Some are criminal, others involve civil actions or environmental matters. But nearly everyone involved in the law says the toughest cases are the ones involving children. In every case of child abuse or neglect, and sometimes in other cases involving children, Vermont judges are required to appoint what's called a guardian ad litem. To learn about the role of these guardians and the need for more of them across our state, I'm joined by the Vermont Judiciary's Guardian Ad Litem Program Manager, Rob Post, and alongside Rob is Janice Santiago. Janice is the Program Coordinator for Franklin, Grand Isle, and Orleans counties. Thank you both for coming in to explain this really important program. So Rob, just, first, what is a Guardian Ad Litem?
Well, a guardian ad litem is a volunteer advocate who is assigned to a court case involving a child, and their job is to pay attention to that child's best interest as the case moves through to completion.
Okay, and very much about the court. So what types of cases do the guardians get involved in?
They're assigned to CHINS cases, which is a case that a child is in need of supervision. There's a couple different kinds of those. There's abuse and neglect, delinquency, truancy, and situations where the child's behavior is beyond the control of the parent.
Okay. And who can be a guardian? I mean, in some states you have to be a lawyer. Do you have to be a lawyer in Vermont?
You do not have to be a lawyer in Vermont. Some states do require lawyers to do it. States across the country have a variety of ways that they do this type of child advocacy. In Vermont, you can be pretty much anyone as long as you're fit to serve in the program and complete the background checks and different things that qualify you.
Awesome. And how much time does this kind of thing take? So if you have a month and you're assigned, what are we talking about?
Well, the cases themselves can run any types of lengths from a short case to a much longer, years, depending on the severity and difficulty of the situation. If you're asking how long people have to serve in a case, that's the answer, is that it varies greatly.
Right, and as long as the case is going, you need to be a part of it.
As long as the case is going, until the child reaches some permanent situation where the case is done to completion, the guardian ad litem stays on that case.
Okay, awesome. And Janice, there must be some boundaries around guardian ad litems, what they can and cannot do. This is not, in other words, it's not a mentorship.
Correct.
This is something very different.
Right.
Gifts or travel or time with the child.
I mean, it's definitely not a big brother, big sister program. You're not spending time overnights or anything like that with these children. And we want to make sure that people are coming in with the right perspective of that they're there to listen to the child, understand the child, and help decipher what a child wants may not be what's in that child's best interest, but being able to separate that out. So no, we don't want them transporting children. We don't want them purchasing any gifts for the child. But we want to make sure that the lines are very clear, that they're there really just to kind of support, answer questions. Oftentimes the guardians can explain to the child, age appropriately, developmentally wise, what is going on with the case and who gets to make, who are all these people in their life now and how to make sense of it. And they can be that calming person because they're not an attorney, they're not a parent, they're not a foster parent or DCF. They have very different roles. This person is really there to support that child.
And so they're an advocate. And so Rob, how does this make a difference in a child's life to have a guardian ad litem?
Well, the court process is very confusing, as Janet just alluded to, for children. Really what it does for them is it gives a dedicated person that's looking out for only them. And all the to-do with the court case and all the parties and all the legal language. It's important that someone just focuses on what they need. And that is what difference a guardian ad litem makes for these kids. Someone's looking out for them and speaking for them in the process.
For the child and not necessarily the parents. They don't get that. I mean, they can interview the parents.
They can. The guardians have a wide latitude of what information they can seek and who they can talk to, which makes them a very important member of the court team because they're the ones who are out in the community asking all these questions and getting a full picture of the child to bring to court and report on that so that everybody understands that angle, that aspect of it.
So they really, there is, as you say, a large latitude, so they can really find out what is in the best interest of this child according to everybody that's in that child's life.
And they're kind of in the courtroom too, a kind of a red flag for the speaking for the child. So if the court and all the lawyers and everybody's leaning towards reunification, if they say that we want the child back with their parent right away, the guardian can say, but there should be a process. There should be trial overnights. There should be an ease, right? Say this child has been with a foster family for a long period of time. You can't just automatically take that child and put them right back with their parent. You have to ease these children into it for the child's sake. So sometimes that's what the role is of that guardian, is what's best for the child in it. So it could be, yes, we agree that they're going to be reunified, but there's a process how to best nurture that child and get them through that process that's best for the child.
Okay. So, Rob, are there enough guardians in the state?
It depends on where in the state you're talking about. There's a disparity of county by county. In some counties there is a lack of guardians. It's a combination of a high caseload and lack of volunteer support. Overall, we want to get our numbers up statewide, but we do focus on specific counties at times, depending on caseloads and where we are with volunteers.
Okay. Well, Janice is the coordinator of the Franklin, Grand Island, Orleans County. That's a place where you're really looking for more volunteers. So how do you go about doing that, and what are the issues up there?
I mean, I think in Franklin County, it's just getting the word out and trying to find people who can really do it. So it's quality, not quantity, right? And not everybody's suited for this type of work. It is, I say work, but it's volunteer. But it's not your normal volunteer opportunity. And it's long term. I mean, the training is extensive, right? The training takes time. So and then there's a mentorship of learning how to be a guardian from other guardians who've been active for a long period of time. So by the time you do the training and you're learning DCF stuff, court stuff, I mean, it's a process. So not everybody is, the right fit for this opportunity. So it's screening and bringing them in. So I know in Franklin County, we're hopefully bringing in half a dozen or so this spring, but we have a high caseload normally, so we really could we have some guardians who have a lot of cases, and we'd like to reduce that for them. And then Orleans County as well, we really, really need people up there that are going to be around and available year-round who can consistently be active with these cases.
You were telling me there's somebody who's seasonally, he's there in the summertime, but he's gone for 3 or 4 months in the winter. So that's tricky.
Yeah,
that makes it tricky.
We try to accommodate people's schedules with this, because it is a volunteer opportunity, and we're conscious of not asking too much. So people can come and apply and explain these sorts of things, and we can work with them on that. So we wouldn't want to set the impression that it needs to be one way. There are lots of ways that you can support this program without being around all the time.
So that person really does it. He does. He's very
active.
active.
Yep, he's very active, and he actually, others have stepped in to cover hearings and work with his children while he's away, and then when he comes back, it'll be switched over. Or in some areas, people can, we can have 2 guardians on a case. So if one's available, the other one may not have to be and stuff. So there's a lot of possibilities.
Right. So let's get to that application and selection process, Rob. So how does that work?
So the first thing that you would do if you're interested in joining the program is to send in an application, which can be found on our website. That application comes to our central office where it was reviewed. Once it's reviewed, if the candidate is a viable candidate, we then set up an interview with that person, and that usually happens with the regional coordinator in which county they're looking to serve, and they have an interview. We send the interview form, the result of the interview, back to the central office where we look at it, and then we have them go through a series of background checks, a federal, criminal, and a state local one, to make sure that this is appropriate. This is appropriate. It's a good candidate. Once that's done, then they are ready to go to a pre-service training.
Right. And the other thing that strikes me about that, you're one of 7. So there are local people. There are people that the guardians or somebody who is applying can really talk to that's local to them. They don't have to always go to Montpelier or something. Right?
Nope. Like you said, there are 7 across the state now.
Right.
Some of them cover multiple regions. Some of them don't. Some of them are in one county specific. And that is the local person that really does most of the support work for the volunteer on a day-to-day basis.
Right. So what do guardians tell you about why they do this and what rewards they get out of it doing it? Janice, what is your...
It's for the children. I mean, I think most of them come in for their love of children and their support, and they know that there's a need for it. Some of them retired teachers. A lot of people who have been around children or have children. Some that don't even have children who are just really hear about the need. And some really enjoy the court process. So some of them come in because it's that way for them to get in and be a part of something that's bigger than themselves and make a difference.
Right.
And they are heart-wrenching cases. Some of their cases are really, really tough. child abuse, sexual abuse cases are really, really hard on people, and it takes a lot to sit through them. And then there are the ones where they get through and they're adopted, and the guardian is invited to the adoptions, and they see that their work has really led to permanency for children and a stable environment for them.
And Robert, I read that children who have guardian ad litems do much better.
They do. They do. Having that constant support person in their life really does help them out in the long term. These are traumatic events for kids, I mean, up and down the board, even if it's a more simple case, or truancy is something a little less painful, but even the really bad abuse and neglect cases, these kids are coming out of this with some damage. I mean, as you can imagine, their family's struggling, their parents are working towards fixing problems that may have been long-standing, and by the end of it, it's a process for them. But the guardian really does offer some stability, and the outcomes usually are much better for kids.
Great. If we have time, we'll get to misconceptions, but I want to make sure that this information gets out. So Rob, if somebody wants to learn more about this, how do they find out?
So you can go on the website. It's vermontjudiciary.org/GAL. Or you can reach us by phone at 1-800-622-6359. And those are the primary ways to reach out to the program.
Right, and jail is GAL. It's kind of interesting.
GAL, yes.
As guardian ad litem.
Yeah, some people call them gals, as a term you'd hear.
Right.
And another way to do it, if you're more local, pop by the courthouse.
Yeah.
In your local courthouse and ask questions of the front desk. The docket clerks can help you.
Fantastic. So just 30 seconds. A misconception you want to make sure that people understand, or what is misunderstood about this?
I think the biggest misunderstanding is what Janice already covered, the nature of the work. We like to make it very clear and be very honest that this is challenging work, and our guardians really are a special breed of people who really understand that what they're getting themselves involved in is serious business and really has an impact. It's important.
And thank you both,
Thank you.
Rob and Janice, for your incredible work.
Thank you so much.
We hope some people sign up after watching this.
Yeah, we appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard.